So I've been thinking about transitioning genders. From male to female, I mean, in case any of you were wondering. I have definitely not decided to do it, but I've also definitely not decided not to do it. I'm in limbo. When I'm not bogging myself down with obsessive thoughts about the depressingly tedious and costly process of electrolysis, or the risks of venous thromboembolic disease from taking oral estrogen, or the weirdness of finding myself in need of regular breast and prostate exams, I'm wondering if transitioning is a good idea for me at all. I remember a time a few years ago when I realized that if I was scared, putting on a skirt and a bra helped me to find my courage. But I've discovered that when I'm really scared, it feels less frightening to see myself as a man. And that's what I fall back to in order to protect myself. So when I'm scared, I want to see myself as a man. But when I'm brave, I'm more open to seeing myself as a woman. So what sense would it make to go stampeding over to the other side? Even if I kind of think that maybe this is something I kind of want to do, I'm really not comfortable with it. And I'm still running away from it whenever I have to face the little earthquakes of my daily life, wondering why I can't just work on being okay exactly where I am, simply living with my gender ambiguity without a drastic transition. But in my calmer moments, when I think about it, what it would feel like to transition, I feel something I have never felt before. Free, really wonderful and open. Would being a woman full-time force me to be brave in all aspects of my life? And isn't there some easier way? Okay, I want to do this. Nope, I don't want to do this. Maybe I need to do this. No, that's ridiculous. I don't need to do this. I just kind of want to do this, sometimes. But I also kind of don't want to do this sometimes. The one thing I'm sure of is that I don't want to think about this, except, of course, when I do, and then I don't want to think about anything else. Round and round I spin, getting dizzy and wishing for distractions. And eventually, that wish comes true. On a Friday afternoon in February, my friend Kelsey calls and tells me that she and her wife Ellie, two of the people I love most in the world, want to start a family. And they're asking me to be their sperm donor. My body, my physical male body, which causes me such wondering and doubt, is the one thing that's capable of helping two people I care about so deeply. Eva, the director of TMI, assures me that this dilemma, this conflict of not knowing whether I want to become a woman while simultaneously being asked to be a sperm donor, is a rich source of dramatic irony and comedy. She sees a hotbed of material here. I think she's out of her fucking mind. Oh, she might be right, but it's so life and death serious to me that I just can't see it. When Kelsey asks me to help them make a family, I feel something that at first I think must be religious, but I am devoutly agnostic, so I don't have the words to describe it. Honestly, I feel like I've won the lottery, blown up the Death Star, and punched Rush Limbaugh square in the face all at the same time. But mostly, more than anything else, I feel like I've been released from prison. Suddenly, I'm integrally involved in something bigger than myself. I feel important, valued, bound. I cry after I get off the phone with Kelsey, after she tells me that the chief thing they're looking for in a donor is kindness, and that's why they're asking me. I want to think of myself as kind, if not especially gentle, but it's never felt like the first word anyone else would use to describe me. I cry after she tells me that they love me, and that I'm their best friend, and that even if I decide it doesn't feel safe for me to be their donor, they'll understand, and they'll still want me to be an important part of their kids' lives. Safe. Kelsey definitely picks the right word when she says they'll understand if this isn't safe for me. A few days after they ask me, when the initial rush of excitement fades, a very different feeling arises. Fear. And not just the usual, oh, what if this is too emotionally hard for me? There's some of that for sure, but there's something much bigger too. If I'm going to do this, I have to be around to donate, at least, and also, hopefully, best case scenario, to see their kids grow up, help them grow up, and be part of their lives. I have no idea how much of my idle time I spend devising escape plans for myself until I realize that I have to stop. My escape plans range in scope from running away to Canada, changing my name, and getting a job selling donuts at Tim Hortons in my better moments, to suicide in my worst. But Ellie and Kelsey need me now. Their kids will need me. And that means I have to put those fantasies aside. My escape valve daydreams of last resort are off the table. And that scares me breathless. How much more work do I have to do on myself before I'll feel worthy of the love and trust that they have for me? Whether or not I feel worthy, here I am anyway. I know donating sperm for Ellie and Kelsey won't make me a parent, and part of me wonders why this is such a big deal for me. After all, my part of the process will be minimal, mostly mechanical, and involve little more than an action that I mastered when I was 14. If I'd known these past 20 plus years of practice were leading up to something so important, I would have taken them more seriously. And this is important. I am not in a relationship. I have rarely in my life been in a relationship. My opportunities to reproduce are thus limited, and that sucks. I know that this will only work if it is simply a gift from me to them with absolutely no strings attached, a gift of code. Genetic code. I am a computer programmer, and I know that code, once it's out of your hands, is no longer under your control. I also know that Kelsey and Ellie grew up in very different households than I did, with less violence and more support. Real support. I don't think therapists have ever used the terms emotional incest or surrogate spouse in sessions with them. I realize that my genetic code is probably in better hands with them as parents than it would be with me. I don't like that fact. It's heartbreaking, but that doesn't make it untrue. The thought of being an actual parent both makes my heart sing and terrifies me. I'm afraid that I'd repeat my own parents' mistakes, that my kids would never feel safe. When I'm growing up, my mother threatens to kill herself on a regular basis. It's one of her favorite coping mechanisms and one that worms its way into my own psyche. Her threats scare me mute, unable to think. Reacting to the drama between adults who are supposed to be taking care of you, I've had enough of that myself. I will not put anyone else in that position. I refuse to use children as a platform on which to act out my own dramas. So this is part of what I think about when asking myself whether it's safe to be Ellie and Kelsey's sperm donor or to be an important part of their kids' lives at all. What if I become attached to their kids? And what if I have a falling out with Ellie and Kelsey and can't see them anymore? Will my heart break? Will theirs? Will I be able to handle that? Also, my genetic code, the gift I'm giving to Ellie and Kelsey, isn't something that I'm 100% pleased with myself. In addition to genetic propensities for depression, anxiety, drug addiction, alcoholism, and this hair, there is a Y in my genome that I sort of wish, that I really wish, was a second X. And that brings me back to where I started. If I do decide to transition genders, certain steps along that path will obliterate the possibility of me ever reproducing in the future. It'll be another 1.5 years before Ellie and Kelsey are ready. My understanding is that once you're on hormones, sperm viability is a bit of a crapshoot. There are no guarantees, and after a while on estrogen, the little swimmers probably aren't doing much more than the dead man's float. So if I'm going to transition, if I'm going to go on hormones, I need to donate first. I started wondering if maybe I should just bank some donations now so that I don't have to wait if I do decide to transition. And what a modern situation this is. In a few years, there may be kids in my life who have 3 lesbian parents and progenitors. Ellie, Kelsey, and me. Actually, this is so far past modern, I think it might be postmodern. Maybe the Indigo Girls will write a song about us. All of this is a leap of faith. I can't control what happens. Kelsey used that word safe. But this can't be safe, because safe means everything is known, and we can't know how this is going to turn out. If ever there were anyone I could trust with strong and tender emotions, though, and trust to make good decisions in raising their kids, it's Ellie and Kelsey. So maybe this is my chance to learn what unconditional love and trust is, all grown up.